Si Kuya nagte-text pa eh. God damn.
Hey everyone, this is Lasco and today we'll be checking out this keyboard here. This is the IBM Model M keyboard that I bought back in April, and we're gonna go ahead and upgrade it and fix it because I accidentally broke this. And yeah, so before we begin the video, comment down below and greet this keyboard a happy 35th birthday because by the time I'm releasing this video, it's gonna be its birthday. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Clicky gang. So back in May, I tried to bolt mod the IBM Model M keyboard, and while in the process of me doing that, I accidentally sliced two of the membranes, which effectively broke the Model M keyboard. The worst part with this is that I tried multiple times to fix the issue, from using a conductive paste, to try using a conductive tape, some hot glue, and none of them doesn't work, so I just gave up on it. A month later, I was searching around the used marketplace such as Facebook Marketplace, Carousel, and eBay, and found a cheap Model M that's broken that was selling for 1,500 Philippine pesos, or roughly 27 bucks. So I contacted the seller and asked if this listing is still available, and they said yes. So a couple weeks later, we drove an hour or two to get their broken Model M, and managed to haggle them slightly and bought the keyboard for 1,400 Philippine pesos, or roughly 25 bucks. So it's a pretty decent price in my opinion, even though it's a broken Model M. Now the condition of the board is definitely not the best out there. They didn't include the SDL to PS2 cable, which is not much of an issue since I already have one from my first board. The board is stuffed with dust and there are a couple of paper clips inside of it. There are a couple of keys that are missing, which is the minus and the dot key at the number pad. Other than that, it uses an US ANSI layout, which is different from my first Model M, which uses an Arabic ISO layout. It also uses a thinner dull gray backplate compared from the thicker rainbow one that you can find at the older Model Ms. And the plastic barrel is beige color compared to the black one from the older Model M that I have. The LED indicator uses a ribbon cable as well compared from the older one that uses a yellow wires. The stabilizers uses a rod style stabilizers over wire ones from the older one. The keycaps from the one I bought is also pretty used as well because it shines out and it gives out a pretty weird texture in my opinion. And this also includes the top case of the Model M as well that has that issue. The plastic rivets are fairly preserved as well, as there are only over a dozen of them popped out, so I can get away with it with just a partial bolt mod. And for anyone who is wondering, bolt mod is a way of extending the life of the Model M keyboard by replacing the plastic rivets to nuts and bolts. Because over time, even when the board is not in use, the plastic rivets weakens and it will eventually snap up from the plastic barrel and the metal backplate. And if there are multiple plastic rivets that are absent within that area, the keys will feel very mushy and linear, and worst case scenario, the keys will not respond anymore. And to achieve this bolt mod, you have to remove the remaining plastic rivets, drill the plastic barrel 50 to 60 times where the plastic rivets was located, and you will insert the bolts and tighten it with a washer and nuts. And once you finish bolt modding your Model M keyboard, the feel and sound is much more refined now, and more snappier than the stock Model M in my opinion. But with partial bolt mod, you don't have to remove the plastic rivets. You only drill the ones that the plastic rivets are no longer in place, and this gives out relatively the same result as with a full bolt mod, with much less time and effort. Initially, the keyboard has multiple keys that aren't working, mainly the top two rows and the bottom row. After the partial bolt mod, there is some significant improvement. However, there's still some broken keys, mainly the F keys, the bottom row, the backspace, and the backslash key are still not working, and because of this, I have to remove over 30 plastic rivets with a box cutter and disassemble the parts. I cleaned both of the membranes and rubber pad and noticed that there's a broken trace for the right control key in one of the membranes. So I used my conductive paste to reconnect the trace. Once after the paste is dried after a few hours, I checked the continuity with a multi-tester and it works now. I also check every single connection for other keys as well if they have the same issue, and they seem to work properly. So after I fix and clean the parts, I reassemble them and start fully bolt modding the keyboard. Once I fully bolt mod the board and reassembled it, 3 of the keys are still not working, specifically the pause key, the spacebar, and the right alt key. And for hours of troubleshooting it, I finally managed to make the keyboard working enough that it's fully functional for my use. What I did is pretty unorthodox, which is to very tightly screw the bottommost bolts so that the spacebar has contact when being pressed without having to press the key really hard. This has also given me some idea to mix match the parts from my first Model M keyboard. Someone pointed out that I can mix match the membranes, the backplate, and the plastic barrel because the plastic rivets are in the same position as from one another. So what I did is to use my older Model M's case, PCB controller, metal backplate, flippers, and the keycaps with Arabic sublegends. And since my older Model M is an Arabic ISO layout and I prefer it to be ANSI layout, I used the plastic barrel and some ANSI keycaps from my $25 Model M, and it worked perfectly. And this is what my newly upgraded Model M looks like. I really like the Arabic sublegends as it gives out that unique look to it, as most keyboard nowadays uses a Japanese sublegends or no sublegends at all. I don't think I ever seen anyone who owns a keyboard that has an Arabic sublegends, so it has that wow factor to it in my opinion. And for anyone who is wondering, this will be my new mainboard along with my Keychron Q1. I will only use this keyboard for typing and general use, as it's not the best keyboard for gaming. That still goes to my Keychron Q1, and when you look at my setup, there are barely any space left for my mouse if I'm gonna use this keyboard for gaming. And that's it for the video. Special thanks to Bitten for helping me out with this project and giving me full guides to how to fix this keyboard, as well as upgrading it and modding it. If you want to see the guide as well, there's a link in the description below if you have a Model M and you want to change the layout, fix it, or mod the keyboard. Also leave a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this one. Comment down below if you have any questions or feedback, and you can always leave a dislike button as well if you find this video like very distasteful or whatever, because even though YouTube hides out the dislike counter, I will still see it through my dashboard. And for anyone who is wondering, here's the sound test of me typing on this IBM Model M keyboard that's been bolt modded and it's been fully upgraded. And as always, thanks for watching!